On 7's Gold Coast News, thieves disguised as gardeners sneak into a Benoa home. A parking lot rampage ends with 2 police officers in hospital. The drastic plan to cull the Gold Coast's exploding deer population. A world-class arena in Southport backed by a local star. Plus, a parliament full of Gold Coasters. We speak with them exclusively.
Live from the Gold Coast, 7 News with Amanda Abate.
Good evening. A Benoa couple has been robbed by cunning thieves dressed as gardeners and suspected of being career criminals. The pair didn't beat around the bush, breaking in through the back door on Cup Day and stealing a haul worth thousands of dollars.
Dressed up and ready for the race that stops the nation, but unfortunately for the Greys, it didn't stop these 2 thieves.
We're just starting to go through the process of finding what's missing.
Disguised as gardeners, the pair pulled up just before midday on Tuesday, sneaking around the side, wearing masks and putting on gloves.
In broad daylight.
After spending less than 5 minutes in the house, they bolt out holding handbags and jewellery, fleeing the scene in a truck, completely inconspicuous.
If anyone knows the vehicle or recognises the people, we'd really appreciate any help.
The Greys realising they've been robbed by career criminals, even though they have cameras and private security.
There's a lot of people in this area that have had issues.
Targeted by culprits that don't care.
Well, maybe if they could get a job and do something decent for the community instead of being so negative all the time.
No arrests have been made, and to make matters worse, the horses they bet on.
Police officers to hospital. Sam, it was driving dangerously in a car park.
Yes, Amanda, and that's why they responded at the Star Casino on Tuesday night after hearing tyres screeching and loud revving. This body cam video shows the men of the ute disregard the officers' order to stop the vehicle before turning it around and hitting him as he tried to jump. Who was driving on the wrong side of the road, nearly hitting pedestrians as well. It was last spotted heading towards Logan. Amanda, no arrests have been made and police are now appealing for witnesses to come forward.
Okay, Sam Payne reporting. A man accused of taking part in the murder of Bikie Shane Auden has been granted bail. 32-year-old Joshua James Small was put on house arrest after his hearing in Brisbane Supreme Court today. Auden was shot 21 times outside of his Pimpama residence 4 years ago. Police allege at least 9 men took part in the execution-style murder. The Gold Coast's growing feral deer population is in the firing line as Council considers upgrades to its arsenal against invasive animals. City leaders are considering a plan to use guns and helicopters to shoot down the dangerous pests.
Leaning from a chopper in chase of a problem pest. This marksman spots his targets flying and firing at feral deer, the invasive animals culled from above. It's a move Gold Coast councillors could greenlight to cut down our city's booming feral deer population.
Our team from Pest Management will be embarking on a number of different mechanisms or methods in order to reduce deer numbers, but we're not ruling out aerial culling at this stage.
City officers say helicopter control of feral deer is considered the most efficient and cost-effective approach for reducing numbers. A survey recently presented to councillors shows sightings of the animals have increased by more than 1,000%.
I know a lot of people in the community see or hear the word deer and they think Bambi, pretty animals that cause no damage, but they are quite possibly one of the greatest environmental issues in our beautiful hinterland.
Environmental vandals threatening native flora and waterways, but also the safety of road users.
Some of the deer populations are moving into our urban area, like Robina and Merrimack, and that's
deer management plan. Liam Bland, 7 News.
Australian singer Natalie Bassingthwaite is leading a new campaign to bring a world-class arena to the Gold Coast. Tonight we can give you a first look at plans for the 12,000-seat venue at Kerry Park. Locals are now invited to have their say.
Natalie Bassingthwaite knows what it's like to perform in arenas all over the world, so you can trust her when she says our city is missing out.
Gold Coast, you are missing out on many national and international touring acts because you simply don't have a suitable venue.
The star singer has now jumped on board a new campaign to bring a world-class stadium to Carey Park.
Southport already has a lively music scene, reinforced by the special entertainment precinct status.
The site is close to public transport.
3 light rail stations, multiple bus routes, CBD car parking, major arterial roads, and even a ferry system.
The venue would also play host to more than just music.
Things like small court sports and combat sports.
You can have your say online or at a pop-up consultation session with hopes to welcome major acts in time for the 2032 Olympics. Paige Van Lunteren, 7 News.
Well, Gold Coast has sweltered through humid conditions and warm temperatures today as a heat wave sweeps across much of the state. Beaches were busy and so was the aqua park as locals tried to keep cool. Inland, the feels-like temperature at Canungra reached 36 degrees.
Very, very hot. Yeah, I'm going to be in there for ages.
It's intense. Even when you wake up in the morning, it's just on you. The heat straight away. It's just, and it's non-stop till the sun goes down.
Bright, glary, good. You know, Gold Coast as it is, steamy.
Yeah, that sums it up. A sign of what's to come this summer. Well, let's check in with Tony Auden. And Tony, tomorrow promises to be even hotter.
It does, Amanda. Tomorrow should bring the peak in temperatures through the next week. Now, much of Western Queensland up into the 40s and the brown shades here. We're looking at mid-30s through inland parts of the coast. I think Robina, Narang and Yatala, then beachside suburbs coolest around that 30 or low 30s. Now, the heat combined with a trough should help fuel more storms tomorrow afternoon and evening, and there is a decent chance of severe cells, so please watch for any warnings. Looking longer term, the weekend should stay mostly dry before a bump in storms, maybe even some more soaking rain into the first half of next week. Some models bringing falls over 50 millimetres to parts of the coast and the southeast, and that rain will help cool us down. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Yeah, gee, it's all happening. All right, thanks, Tony. Well, from fixing homelessness to cracking down on youth crime, a group of Gold Coasters now have power in their hands and pressure on their shoulders. 7 News spoke exclusively to the new ministers who call our city home, quizzing them about how their community will remain.
I'm also feeling like it is a really big opportunity to give our police and our community the laws they need.
Bonnie MP Sam O'Connor also trusted with a big job tackling the housing crisis.
But I'm up for it.
Committing to keep pushing the previous government's projects already in the works, including this tower at Southport. He's looking into unused church land on a mission to unlock community housing and more supply. And when it comes to the Arundel Hills Country Club saga,
we're going to be working to remove the state intervention over that site so that the future of that site can be put back in the hands of the City of Gold Coast. It's sport and rec zone land for a reason. And I'm going to be focused on getting housing in the areas that it should be, and that's an area where it should not be.
At Parliament, Mudgeeraba MP Ros Bates is settling into her new office. A surprise swap from Health, now in charge of finance, trade, employment and training.
It's a new department and it's really exciting, and I've got lots of challenges that I'm looking forward to.
Surfers Paradise's John Paul Langbrook got the call up for education and arts.
Premier Christopher Fulling made it very clear to me when he gave me the job that he needs me to sort out some of these discipline issues that are causing teachers to not want to stay in our schools.
The ministers insist they can balance their promotions with commitments to the coast. Sworn in less than a week ago, they're already pushing local election promises through the pipeline.
My community will always come first. Currumbin Wildlife Hospital is getting a training and research precinct. Eleanor High School in particular is getting a STEM centre of excellence.
A $10 million commitment there to set up the first marine wildlife hospital.
Getting the Gold Coast its fair share. Mel Whiteman, 7 News.
The government has done a 180 on Schoolies pill testing. After the break, the Premier answers the hard questions on why the service is staying for now. Also, a car crashes into a scooter outside a school. And a Varsity Lakes dog who's all the rage on national television.
Donald Trump has reclaimed the US presidency.
The news team that never stops.
Dirranbandi under threat on 2 fronts.
7 News has obtained exclusive video.
Destructive winds ripped roofs off homes and uprooted huge trees.
7 News.
A teenager has been rushed to hospital after his scooter collided with a car. Emergency services rushed to Christine Avenue outside Varsity College at 8:30 this morning. The 15-year-old was treated for significant head injuries and taken to hospital in a stable condition. It's understood he was bleeding from the nose and had bruising around the eyes, but his injuries were not life-threatening. A video has emerged online of a road rage incident in Southport. It captures the moment 2 men begin brawling on the sidewalk. One then knocks the other to the ground, hitting him repeatedly before walking back to his car. Police are aware of the incident. No arrests have been made. The decision to keep pill testing at Schoolies this year is being applauded by Queensland's leading medical body. The shock decision is against the LNP's hardline approach on drugs, but there's no guarantee the service will survive beyond this year.
A proposal previously slammed as soft on drugs, no longer set to be scrapped. A seemingly tough pill to swallow for our state's new Premier.
The Health Minister sought advice and there are contracts in place and those contracts have to be honoured.
Pill testing will take place at this year's Schoolies celebrations, contractual obligations taking precedence over the LNP's policy preference.
And I know from talking to Red Frogs, where over the last few years the drinking culture has certainly changed. We don't want it to be replaced by the drug culture.
A statement issued by the Office for the Health Minister yesterday said our position remains that there is no safe way to take drugs and pill testing sends the wrong message, adding the only short-term
Can't do any harm, I suppose.
The evidence does suggest that people who do present to a pill testing centre, 16% actually dispose of those drugs, which is great.
Queensland's leading medical body has welcomed the decision and says the service will provide an opportunity for education on the dangers of drugs. The AMAQ wants pill testing to become a permanent fixture of Schoolies, although the government hasn't committed to that.
Definitely stay off drugs anyway, but if you are, definitely get this, bro. It could save your life.
Oh, anything to keep the community safe, especially the young ones, I reckon.
The pill testing service will be free, confidential and set up at the Surfers Paradise Entertainment Precinct near the nightly beach party off Cavill Mall.
If we can prevent one unintended overdose, one unintended death, that'll be a great save for the healthcare system.
Liam Bland, 7 News.
Police are hunting for a group of armed teens after a Palm Beach home was robbed on Tuesday night. The culprits were caught on camera trying to break into homes before getting into one of the houses, stealing handbags and a BMW. It's believed they then flaunted their theft on social media, driving the car at high speeds on the motorway. No arrests have been made. Well, now to a story that will make you smile. Gold Coast pooch Max has shared his talent with the whole country, having a ball, quite literally, as he proudly played balloon tennis live on national telly.
This is really impressive. Oh, what a rally this is. Better than the Australian Open. We're still going. Oh, what a rally. Come on, Max.
Well, all the pressure of live TV, Max has absolutely nailed that. Someone else who has a puppy Max at home, Sally Pearson, can he do that?
Well, I have trouble getting him to sit most of the time.
Also, look, a 95-year-old swimmer has made a big splash.
Yes, he wound back the clock in his backstroke.
E-scooter crackdown, the push for new rules and council trials to keep riders and pedestrians safe.
Plus, it's murder on the dance floor. Sophie Ellis-Bextor is live right here at Bikie Central.
See you in the morning, Gold Coast.
Gold Coast soccer star and Brisbane Roar captain Tamika Yallop is expecting a tough test for her side on Saturday when they take on Sydney FC. Yallop has been named club captain this season. The midfielder's tipped to feature for the Matildas next month on the Gold Coast against Brazil.
I think we're going to get a good crowd out to Suncorp and to Seabus as well. I think we're all excited for it to play at home and in front of our home fans again.
The showdown on December 1 will be the Matildas' first on the glitter strip. Some of the best Australian surfers are tonight paying tribute to a legend of the sport. They're remembering Phyllis O'Donnell, who passed away aged 87.
At a time when men still ruled the water, Phyllis O'Donnell was a force to be reckoned with.
Phyllis is in top form and on the way to her greatest ever performance.
At age 27, she surfed her way into the history books, crowned the first women's world champion in 1964.
Phyllis O'Donnell takes the women's title in an upset victory over Linda Benson.
She went on to dominate the sport into the 70s and still had plenty left in the tank 2 years ago when our very own sporting champion, Sally Pearson, dropped into her Pottsville aged care home.
I don't know if I can beat her. Oh, she's going to grab me. This is pretty insane right now. I'm going to get beaten by an 85-year-old, I think. Wow!
It was Phyllis's signature strength that paved the way for the likes of Lane Beachley and Steph Gilmore.
Phyllis was tough. She was resilient. She was tenacious. But the first word that comes to mind when I think of her is gregarious.
The surfing legends paying tribute to the trailblazer who died peacefully in her sleep.
She's inspired women's surfing to grow and to evolve.
The oldest athlete in the Pan Pacific Masters Games dived into the competition today. 95-year-old China Johnson powered through the pool to take out third place in his 100-metre backstroke heat before sharing his secret to success with 7 News.
You don't outswim them, you outlive them.
China still has 6 races to go and will no doubt be heading home with more medals. And I hope I am that active at 95 years of age.
Sal, you'll be jumping hurdles and breaking world records at that age.
I'm living forever, Amanda.
Thank you. Coming up after the break, Tony will have all of the weather details. We're in for a hot one. All the latest from the US is coming up next. Here's Max.
Hello, Amanda. In just a few minutes, an innocent driver killed and 2 police officers injured in a crash with a stolen car. The world reacts to Donald Trump's return, what it means for Australia, children under 16 to be banned from social media, how supermarkets are leading a new knife crime crackdown, the simple health insurance hacks to help families slash premiums. And we're there as Bluey's World opens in Brisbane. We'll see you at 6.
Okay, thank you, Max. On to the weather now. Tony, it's been hot. Now we have more storms on the way.
We do, Amanda. Once again, there's the risk of severe spells around tomorrow afternoon, but the trade-off is that they could also bring a little bit of relief from this heat. There is always a trade-off. Now, it was another muggy night today on 22 degrees, a super early top of 29. That was before 9 a.m. Then sea breezes kept things a little bit cooler on the coast for the later parts of the day here, but that didn't stop the mercury climbing higher further inland. Canungra 34, Robina and Yalla up to 32 degrees. Now, onto the forecast chart, we'll see this trough system here pushing closer to the coast tomorrow, bringing that narrow strip of hotter air towards us as well, and also starting to make some more vigorous storms into the course of the afternoon and evening. Then sea breezes start to set up a bit more on the weekend and very slowly cool us down. On the beaches today, well worth keeping the sunscreen handy with beautiful blue skies, plenty of people out for a dip, and a couple of beginners making the most of this springtime chop too. I'm sounding like a broken record here, but spring really isn't a great time of year for surfers, and that all continues tomorrow. You might get a waist or shoulder high wave if you're keen, but there'll be a lot of wind on it, and it's not looking much better for at least the next week. If you're lucky enough to take the boat out, we have northerlies out on the waters. Strongest in the morning, it could reach 30 knots offshore early, but for the most part in that 15 to 20 knot range. That will bump seas up to 2.5 metres. Now, on to tomorrow's forecast. A steamy night and even hotter day. We might see a little bit of thundery rain overnight off the back of inland storm activity today. Then, bigger storms are more likely into tomorrow afternoon and evening. We will need to watch for those potential severe cells. Nerang up to 35 degrees. In Surfers Paradise, 21 tonight, well worth keeping the fan on, then back up to 33 with that possible afternoon shower or storm. We've got about a 50% chance of rain all up. Looking ahead, mostly dry on the weekend, slightly cooler, 30 on Saturday, 28 degrees Sunday, then watch for a wetter start next week, 27s with some heavier showers or rain. Amanda, we should miss the worst of the heat and storms over the weekend at least, so that's not too bad.
That is perfect timing. All right, thank you, Tony. Thanks for joining us as well this Thursday. We'll be back with more Gold Coast news tomorrow at 5:30, but don't go anywhere. The news at 6 is starting now. Good night.